Hi, this is Colin Sandy from Sandy Audiovisual again, and here talking about the NewTek TriCaster 460. This was originally a 455, which I believe began its life as a 450, but it seems to have the 455 hardware since it was made later in the product cycle. And you can take everything I say with a grain of salt, sorry, because, you're going to say, well, Sandy, you're a NewTek fanboy, why should we listen to you? Well, you should, because no matter if I sell a product or not, recommend it or not, well, if I recommend it, obviously I think it's good, but I always tell the truth. So, here's the deal. Maybe about a year ago, I had a client complain that our TriCaster was very, very loud. They had rented a TriCaster from us before. I believe it was a true 455, which I believe was on an older chassis. And so I inquired. I asked NewTek, did you guys change your fans? And they told me no. So of course, I, taking folks at their word, believed them. But then I heard some other folks' 400 series TriCasters, and I'm like, not as loud as mine. And come to think of it, I think my old one really was quieter. And, that client hasn't come back because he was very unhappy that he had a very loud TriCaster in his event. And I was kind of happy that mine was one of the ones that didn't melt down or catch fire. But that's another story. I don't really won't get into that because there's several reasons for it. And let's just say that I've decided, now that I have some downtime, that I'm going to change out the crappy fans that were in my TriCaster. And I say that because this is a $20,000 machine, and I really don't think it's good practice to put the cheapest component you can find in a machine, especially if it's loud, and especially if it really isn't performing any benefit. So what did I do? Here we have the original fan, and yours may or may not differ. We could see if we can focus in on here. Doesn't look like it's in focus to me, but I'll just, the light in here is pretty crummy. Yahang brushless DC fan, YD802 5HS, 2.5 watt DC 12 volt fan from Yahang Electronic Company Limited, probably someplace in Shenzhen province, someplace that mass manufactures these things. They're loud, and here's a funky thing about this. And you'll notice here that the second set of leads I cut off, and that's because they were zip tied here to this lateral bar here, and make sure you secure this back when you, or if you mess with your machine, because this keeps your machine from pretty much twisting. It gives the structural support to the machine, and they have most of the cables zip tied to this to keep it neat and keep airflow. But the connector for the fan is actually right about here, right under the meat and potatoes of the TriCaster, which is this machine here. Those of you who think the TriCaster is just a computer, it is not. Under the fan here you have a field programmable gate array. I'm guessing it's a model from Xilinx, probably a Spartan or something in that product family. Anyways, FPGA is doing the heavy lifting. So this is the TriCaster right here. The rest of this is just a simple computer. Alright? TriCaster, computer. TriCaster. Alright. So, TriCaster generates a lot of heat. This FPGA. Of course, your CPU generates a lot of heat, and your GPU generates a lot of heat. To a lesser extent, your power supply, really not a big heat source with a low wattage machine like this, and your hard drives. If you have a later model that have SSDs, it'll be even cooler than this. So, well, cooler I guess in both senses as far as the temperature, and SSDs are cooler. But here's the issue. So right now, I don't know if you could pick this up on this video. It sounds like the fan for the FPGA is really loud. Now, I never heard this fan before. That's because I replaced these two fans here, which was this bundle that came with it, with two German-designed 10 dBA fans. So these are 10 decibels each. While you're listening to this video, so you know what 10 dB sound like, which is not much of anything. So maybe 20 combined, and I think it's logarithmic, so it's probably not a perfect 20 there, but in any case, double the sound, which technically should really be 23 dBA, but in any event, or 13. Yeah, 13. You can't hear them. Like, I literally have to put my ears to these fans to hear them, and they're pretty much on full load. This has been running for 14 hours, I believe. So it's nice and hot, right? Of course, the case is off, so it's been breathing, but I also did the same test under the original configuration. Under the original configuration, I was getting, you can see here the temperatures, 21 degrees centigrade, 21 degrees centigrade, 21 or 28 here, right at the hard drive's connector, right in front of the fan, 23, 22 degrees centigrade. Let's look at the hot spots here, the FPGA on its fan slash heatsink, about 23 or 24. Where you're going to find the most heat is actually beside the cooling unit. So for instance, take a look here. Saw that spike to 39, 32, 35, 33. This is the hottest part of the TriCaster I've found, right, say, south of the FPGA. And I'm not sure what type of that's buffer circuit or what that integrated circuit is for. And also, if you shoot right into the heat sink of the GPU, I've got it up to about, 28 was about the hottest I got. And, you know, around the RAM and the motherboards, etc. But the heat is dissipating very, very well. And this is with the modification here with the silent fans. Here's one thing that's really bizarre to me was in the bundle that came with it. I thought it had like some kind of fancy maybe parallel connection or serial connection with the power, because I'd only seen where the 3 leads were connected to the motherboard, but lo and behold, one of these fans weren't even, it was zip tied up in a bundle, but it was doing nothing. It wasn't turned on, it wasn't powered by the motherboard. I'm guessing that was a manufacturing mistake. And I guess those who have had their machines actually catch fire, that's something they'd probably want to take up with their dealer or the manufacturer, because I see no engineering reason why you'd put 2 fans in tandem and not hook one up. And I'm surprised it was that loud with just one of these things going. Because the second one, since I bought this, I've never been this deep into machining because I couldn't be bothered, but actually wasn't doing anything. So it's kind of like having a car with a dual fan radiator and having one fan that doesn't work. All that fan will do that isn't spinning is obstructing the cooling surfaces in that radiator, thus making the thing heavier, hotter, obstructing the free flow of air. So I'd call that not a design defect, but a manufacturing defect. It wasn't plugged in at all. All right. So anyway, that's a piece of crap. You probably want to get some decent fans. You could spec these out. I'll put what these are in the notes. I can't remember what they cost. They're probably under $10 each. But again, for a $20,000 machine, probably worth it to get this cooler. Now, overall, this machine is now about 3 degrees centigrade cooler than the original spec TriCaster 460, and it's, oh boy, maybe a good 30 dB quieter. So there you have it again. It's Colin Sandy over at Sandy Audiovisual New Tech. I love you. I love this box, but those fans gotta go.